This morning on BRN Sunday, we look back at the successes of the Employee Benefit Security Administration. And joining me now to help break it all down, the Honorable Lisa Gomez is the Assistant Secretary for the Employee Benefit Security Administration. Lisa, so great to see you again. Thanks for joining us on the program this morning.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for having me.
Uh, you know, I know there's a lot of work that has been done at the Department of Labor and in particular the Employee Benefit Security Administration. When you look back over the past 4 years, are there specific initiatives or projects that really stand out to you in terms of the team effort and the work that was performed?
Sure. I often say to folks that as I was waiting to be confirmed for this position and seeing all the great things that EBSA was doing before I got here, I was experiencing a real sense of FOMO and that I was missing out and they're going to do everything there is to be done before I get there. But that was not the case. We've been very busy in the time that I have been here. And if I had to pick a couple of regulatory initiatives that were very impactful for the benefits plan community. On the health side, I would certainly say that it was the final rule on mental health parity that we put out together with the Departments of Health and Human Services and the Department of Treasury, just continuing to emphasize the goals of the Mental Health Parity and Addiction Equity Act. That individuals should not have more restricted or more restrictions on their access to treatment for mental health care and substance use disorder care than they do for any other type of medical or surgical care that they may need. And so that has been a very important role for me, both professionally, personally, and all of the work that was done on that and the interaction with stakeholders, the community. And I'm hopeful that that rule, which becomes effective in large part in just a few days on January 1st of 2025, will make some real inroads on giving more access to people who are living with those conditions. On the retirement side, I would certainly say our retirement security rule, which we issued our final rule a couple of months ago. And with that rule, while we are in litigation with challenges over that rule, at its core, that rule really gets to the basics of why we are all here at EBSA and those of us who practice and serve in the area of employee benefits under ERISA, and that is to make sure that when it comes to participants in plans, that people are acting in their best interests, in the best interests of those participants and those beneficiaries, and not in their own interests, and that people who are in these retirement plans and have saved for retirement over long careers can rely upon the security of those retirement benefits and not have to be concerned that when they're making investment decisions based on advice that they're being given, that they may not have the full information about what other incentives, the people giving that advice may have. So I think those would be the top two if I had to pick one from each, but we definitely have been doing a lot of work in the regulatory area with Secure 2.0, and there's more to come. But it's been a great, busy, and I think really productive time.
And it's probably gone by so quick. You were just confirmed, and then all of a sudden, you kind of wrap up your
Yes.
term. Are there certain initiatives maybe you wish you had more time for? And the benefits world is kind of glacial, it's iterative. But if you had more time, were there things that maybe you would like to focus on?
Yeah, I mean, if I wish I had more time, and there are so many things that I wish that we here at EBSA and that I could be continuing to do and just making more additional progress on. At the top of that list would be continuing to work on outreach and education, both for the workers out there, retirees, participants, their families, so that they can understand their benefits, understand how to use those benefits, to try to get deeper into what is it that we really need to be continuing to do a better job at in communicating benefits. And we were starting to and really making a lot of progress in both in speaking to different media outlets and trying to take a closer look at, depending on where people live, what communities they might be in, what industries they work in, how we at EBSA can be communicating more effectively to them, and how the plan administrators, the people in the benefits community offering these benefits, can be communicating most effectively to them. Because I think there are just so many people who work so hard to get these benefits, yet don't understand that they have the benefits, how to use the benefits, and we need to be doing a better job. So I would have loved to just continue with that, and I have confidence that this agency will continue with that. But would have loved to have been able to be here working on that. Also, would have loved to be able to continue with the work that we're doing on worker ownership. We have, just in the time that since I have been here with Secure 2.0 and the Work Act, we have been really taking the job that was given to us under Secure of starting the employee ownership initiative and working on formal guidance with respect to employee stock ownership plans and valuation of employer stock in those types of plans. We have been making great progress, I think, in establishing a new type of relationship and collaborative relationship with so many people in the worker ownership community. I personally have had the privilege of being able to go to many worker-owned businesses, businesses that have ESOPs as their core, and have learned so much from those communities. And so I wish that we had more time to just continue, at least with me in this role, continue to develop that that relationship. And then, outside of that, I do wish that I had more time to continue to focus on this agency and being an advocate of this agency, both in trying to get resources from a budget perspective. We're coming up on the next continuing resolution. And as everyone knows, we're constantly, looking to the next budget and what we can get out of it. And this agency really needs strong advocacy. And I have taken that as a core part of my responsibilities, to be fighting for this agency and the people that make up this agency. So I will continue to do that in whatever role I end up being in, but would have loved to have more time here to just continue to spread the word about what this agency does and what we need to continue to do what we're doing in a greater just as effectively and as broadly as we can.
Absolutely, and from someone from the outside looking in, you do a great job with it. Not you personally, but the team does a great job with education, the helplines. And look, we just celebrated ERISA 50, so there's so much to celebrate, but so much going forward. How does the transition take place? So, when your successor comes in, do you just hand that person a folder and say, "Here, pat on the back, good luck"? I mean, yeah, a magic wand, and But how does that happen? What will happen between now and January 20th?
Sure. It's certainly something that, for me, as someone who, prior to being in this role, I never worked for government. So I can say honestly, I was not paying very close attention before being in this role to all the mechanics of what happens during a transition. And I've been trying to make a point of understanding that there's so many people who we work with in this community who also don't understand exactly what happens at this point, and have said things to me along the lines of, well, you'll stay on until they find someone else, right? Or how will this work? So how it works, as far as I understand it, is that since I am was nominated by President Biden, and I am part of the Biden-Harris administration, that on January 20th, when the administration changes, I will leave this position and will sadly no longer be the head of the Employee Benefit Security Administration. And then we are working both within EBSA and at the Department of Labor more generally. We are all working on putting together transition documents so that the next administration can have information about what where we are with projects and what we have been doing, and so that they can then learn sort of where we are and then make their decisions as they come in, as what their priorities are and where they want to go. So I would expect that once we have people in positions here, that the EBSA staff, whose really main and sole focus is to just move forward on our mission. We want to make sure that that the next leadership understands, the needs of the agency, the needs of participants, and the needs of the community, and can be briefed on the activities and be able to move forward.
And in terms of, I mean, you mentioned mental health. You mentioned in terms of initiatives, the financial security rule, Secure 2.0. Are there certain things that if you were to, hand over the information to your successor, that you would say, hey, maybe these things, you know how the president writes a note sometimes to his or her successor, kind of like say, hey, we would recommend these priorities. Do you give a feeling for what you would like to see carried forward into the new administration?
Sure. Yes, and I really hope that I intend to really pursue that opportunity to, whether it be a handwritten note and or sitting down for a cup of coffee to talk with whoever is fortunate enough to be in this position going forward, to express to them things like mental health parity, and what I have learned along the way in meeting with so many different people, both providers, plans, participants, and where we are, and my thoughts on how we can best be continuing to mend these relationships, and have both the participants, the plans, and the providers looking at this as this is a new opportunity for us to all be working together to achieve the goals of mental health parity. And that's where I have really been, and hope that the next person will look at it in the same way. Also to think about with so many of the initiatives that we are working on, whether they're regulatory or education outreach, to really be thinking about, at the end of the day, what are we doing this for? What are we trying to achieve here? And that a core goal that we should be trying to achieve is again making sure that people understand their benefits, how to access their benefits, when what rights they have, what to do if they feel that their rights are not being are not, that they are not receiving what they're entitled to under the law. Working with the plan sponsor, the plan administrator community, so that they understand what they need to do. And another thing that I really wanted to work on some more, if I had more time, and would implore upon the next person, if I have time or have the opportunity to sit down with them, is coming up with more easy to use resources for employers who are looking to offer these plans, and who are, once they do offer these plans, tools that they can use to ask service providers that they work with, what questions to ask their brokers, their professional financial professionals that they work with, their cybersecurity insurance company, and all of these various things, so that the employers and the plan sponsors can be more empowered, and also tools to give to participants so that they can know, these are the types of things you should be looking for in your plan. These are the types of things that you should do, or resources that are available to you if you want to appeal a denial, all of those types of things. So, and I think the last thing that I would say, or maybe not the last thing, because I'll probably need several hours to sit with this person, but really just to make sure that they go into this position knowing that the employees here at this agency, this is a small but mighty agency. We are only just slightly over 800 employees, which I had no idea coming into this, but compared to other agencies in the federal government that are in the same universe that we are in, we are quite small. But the people who are here do incredible work. They achieve just monumental recoveries for people, for both plans and participants and beneficiaries, and that so many of the people here have dedicated their entire careers, decades of their lives, to supporting this mission, and that you can't really underestimate the value of just the people who are here, who have been here, and who really wake up every single day committed to that mission and committed, no matter who is sitting in this chair, to making sure that that work gets done. So hopefully, that person will reach out and we'll have a nice cup of coffee, or that will probably lead into, a three, like breakfast, lunch, and dinner by the time I'm done with the discussion.
Yeah, you may need more than one cup of coffee for that, but
Yeah,
definitely you can
maybe
have
we'll go on
multiple
a
portions.
retreat or something.
Uh,
But
If you don't mind me asking, what's next? So you've had this great run at the Employee Benefit Security Administration. I think this, as you mentioned, this is your first foray into public service. Do you have a feel, when Super Bowls are over, the coaches may go on vacation, then come back to plan for the next season. Using that analogy, do you have a feeling for what's next in terms of your career and next act, I guess I should say?
yeah, it's yeah, you don't see too many people saying, coming up to me and saying, "Hey, Lisa, you're no longer going to be the assistant secretary of EBSA. What are you going to do next?" And I say, "I'm going to Disney World."
That'd be kind of cool.
I am not planning to go to Disney World. No offense to Disney World, but I would definitely. My focus right now is just to get through from now until that last day that I am, here, serving in this position. And I have committed to this agency, to stakeholders that I've spoken with, that until that day, I am just 1000% dedicated to EBSA and not really thinking about, anything past that. Although I will say that I am giving thought to a vacation, so that I can take some time to relax, reflect, and think about next steps.
Yeah.
And whatever that next step ends up being, it will definitely be something where I feel that I can continue to give back, to the communities, the participant community, the provider community, the plan sponsor community, all of the different stakeholders, the worker ownership community, everyone who has been working together to make this system work as well as it can for people. So I haven't quite figured that out yet, how I can best do that, but hopefully, sometime at the beach or something, just not, to making that transition will make it possible. So
Yeah. Well, Lisa, thank you so much for joining us in the program. And I can't speak for the American people, but I certainly appreciate your leadership, all the work that you have done and your team have done over the last 4 years. And look, wherever you transition to, we look forward to having you back on the program again very soon. Thank you so much.
I'd love that. Thanks so much, Jeff, and thanks to everyone.
And don't forget to subscribe to our daily newsletter, The Morning Pulse, for all the news in one place. Details, of course, at our website. And we're back again tomorrow for another great edition of BRN. We'll have another special guest and another important topic. Until then, I'm Jeff Snyder. Stay safe, keep on saving. And don't forget, roll with the changes.